Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we're going to explore the moment Alex's family finally starts to feel warm again, and then a nameless envelope appears at the gate with one word written on it. Vi. If you enjoy this story, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next videos. The kettle clicked off. Alex's mother poured water for a single cup, as if she were still forcing herself to believe she was alone. A knock hit the door, too early for the neighbors who like to sleep late. She checked the wall clock, her brow furrowing with a sharp, instinctive suspicion. "You're a day early," she muttered to herself, her voice stripped of any welcome. She opened it. The suitcase wheel bumped against the wooden threshold, a dry, hollow thud. Vi stood there, a tired smile etched onto her face, the strap of her bag cutting deep into a thin shoulder. Her mother didn't move. There was no hug, only shock. "You said next week," she whispered, her eyes darting past Vi's shoulder as if searching for a more terrifying shadow. Vi swallowed hard, her throat tasting like dust. "I said next week because I wasn't sure I'd actually have the courage to show up." Her mother stepped back, opening a cold, hollow space. "Come in." The suitcase rolled across the floor tiles. Small sound, big change. Vi glanced around the room. It was neat to the point of being extreme. As if no one wanted this house to leave a single trace of life behind. "I found a job," Vi broke the silence. "Close to home. I can stay here." Her mother nodded once, a mechanical, lifeless gesture. She asked no questions, only reached out with a thin, trembling hand to grip Vi's sleeve, as if verifying she wasn't a ghost. "Henry will be happy," she said, her voice thin as a thread. Vi's smile weakened. "I want to be here for him. And for you." Her mother looked away instantly, as if that sentence weighed more than the suitcase Vi had carried in. On the table, a phone vibrated, a motion alert from the security camera, movement detected. She flipped the screen face down before Vi could read it. In that practiced motion, Vi realized she hadn't come home to warm the house. She had come home because the quiet here was actually a threat. Vi didn't unpack everything. She left her suitcase half open, as if she were testing whether she truly belonged or if she was just passing through. Alex's mother played the role of the perfect grandmother, but her hands shook as she rinsed extra rice. In the afternoon, Henry ran over from Tu Na's farm, his laughter tearing through the heavy atmosphere. "Aunt Vi." The boy ran in circles, desperate to spend all his happiness before it vanished. He called out every name, even Alex's, the man who wasn't there. Tu Na stood at the door, her eyes relieved but clouded with worry. She didn't need a maid. She needed hands that didn't carry fear to hold Henry. Vi picked Henry up, pretending to play, but her eyes never left her mother. Later, at the market, the older woman stood at the milk shelf, staring at the cartons, while her mind was clearly miles away. "Are you buying the brand Henry likes?" Vi asked. Her mother didn't answer. She only gripped the handle of her basket until her knuckles turned white. The phone vibrated again. This time, right in the parking lot. Vi caught a glimpse of the screen, another camera alert from the front gate. The timestamp, 3:00 a.m. Those cameras, Vi started tentatively. "Just for stray dogs," her mother cut her off, quickening her pace. The lie was so clumsy it felt like a physical weight pressing on Vi's chest. Back at the house, the kettle clicked again. Slow, deliberate. Alex called while they were pouring tea. His voice through the speaker sounded brittle, like a wire pulled too tight. "Mum, are you okay? Is anyone there?" His mother glanced at Vi, a long beat of hesitation before admitting she wasn't alone. "Vi is back," she said. A dead silence followed on the other end. Vi could hear Alex's heavy exhale. It wasn't relief, it was the sound of a new problem stacking on top of an old one. "Fine," Alex's voice dropped. "I'm coming home. Do not open the door for anyone until I get there." His mother put the phone down and touched the teacups, rotating them until the handles were in perfect, terrifying alignment. "You didn't tell him about the footage from 3 a.m., did you?" Vi asked. Her mother didn't look up. There are some things that are better left unknown if you want to keep living. At the nursery gate, the noise of children felt like a different world, distant and safe. Henry threw himself into his grandmother's arms while Vi stood back, observing. She saw her mother hold the boy as if he were the only life jacket left in a stormy sea. She didn't cry, but the gratitude in her eyes was sharp, almost painful. Vi took a deep breath, her eyes scanning the line of cars parked along the street by instinct. Then she saw it. A black car, tinted windows, idling silently at the corner of the intersection. It wasn't picking anyone up. It just sat there, thin exhaust trailing from the pipe, like a predator patiently waiting for a blink. Vi gripped the iron fence, a cold shiver racing down her spine. She realized she had seen this car at the supermarket earlier, and perhaps it had been there since she stepped off the long-distance bus. As the car window rolled down just an inch, Vi saw a camera lens pointed directly at Henry, and she realized she hadn't just come home. She had brought a death sentence to their front door. Alex arrived at dusk, his shadow stretching across the yard like an intruder. Henry had fallen asleep on the sofa, clutching an old toy. The living room now became a ring for lies. "Tell me." Alex lowered his voice, but the authority was undeniable. "Whose car is that?" His mother didn't answer, still lost in her endless tea ritual. Vi stood up abruptly. The sound of her chair scraping the floor was deafening. "You've been seeing them for days, haven't you, Mum?" Alex turned to his mother, his eyes bloodshot from exhaustion and dread. "You hid this from me? You let Henry face danger just to keep up this fake peace?" Tu Na stepped in from the kitchen, her voice low but sharp as a razor. "Don't blame her. Are you any different? You come home with secrets and whispered phone calls in the middle of the night." Alex froze. The truth laid bare made the air in the room feel thin. His mother finally looked up, her eyes no longer showing weakness. "I stayed quiet because every time I called you, you brought another layer of pressure back here. I wanted this house to be a place to breathe, not a bunker." "But it is a bunker now," Vi shouted, then instantly lowered her voice as Henry stirred. She looked at her brother, her eyes full of disappointment. "You promised you'd handle it in the city. You said they wouldn't follow you here." Alex slammed his hand onto the table, knocking his mother's perfectly aligned cups out of place. "I tried. But they don't want money. They want what you're holding, Vi." Vi went rigid. The room fell into the most horrific silence yet. It turned out Alex wasn't the only one who brought darkness into this house. The confrontation was no longer against an outside enemy. It was between the secrets they were using to strangle one another. Every member of this family was building a wall to protect the others, but they didn't realize they were just building their own solitary cells. The next morning, the sun rose, but its light couldn't penetrate the gloom inside. Henry still laughed, but the child had an instinct that was terrifyingly sharp. Whenever a car engine passed by, he would stop playing and tilt his head to listen. He didn't know what he was afraid of. He just knew the adults around him were holding their breath. Tu Na saw it all. She saw that the cost of this protection was too high. It was being paid for with a child's innocence. That night, Vi sat across from Alex under the dim kitchen light. "When are you going to tell Tu Na the truth?" Vi asked. Alex spun an empty cup between his palms. "What's the point? So she can lose sleep like us? She has the right to be actively afraid instead of being led along in this false security." Vi noticed her mother standing in the hallway, her long shadow cast against the wall. The older woman didn't enter. She just stood there, fingering the necklace at her throat. Downstairs, the water pump hummed, the heartbeat of an exhausted house. In the next room, Henry talked in his sleep. Not laughter, Just a small lost call searching for a protection that no one in this house was strong enough to provide anymore. It turned out their sacrifice wasn't keeping Henry safe. It was teaching him how to live with fear before he even knew its name. Saturday came with a suspicious quiet. Vi buttoned Henry's jacket. His grandmother tied his laces with meticulous care. "Is Aunt Vi coming too?" Henry asked, his eyes wide and clear. "I'm coming," Vi promised, her hand gripping the phone in her pocket. Alex had left early, claiming he had one last thing to settle. But they all knew he wasn't going to work. Just as they reached the nursery gate, the mother's phone vibrated. A new motion alert. At the front gate. Now. Vi looked at the screen with her mother. A hooded figure stood right against the camera lens, seemingly aware of the blind spots. A hand reached out, sliding a white object under the bamboo gate. The figure didn't run. He slowly turned to look directly into the camera, as if staring through the screen into the mother's very eyes. Then the feed flickered once and went black. "Call Alex, Mum," Vi whispered, her voice trembling. Her mother stared at the dead screen, her finger hovering over the call button, but she didn't press it. They drove home in a silence that felt like a funeral. Tuna was already waiting at the gate, her face pale. The white object was still there. An envelope. Clean, crisp, placed with respect, not thrown. Vi picked it up with shaking hands. No stamp, no return address. Only a single name written in bright red ink, the handwriting neat. A reminder that nowhere is home and no secret is permanent. Vi